Hit me with some transfer Tuesday. Like the Joker in The Dark Knight wanting Batman to hit him on the bike. Hit me. All right, I'll hit you. Let's start. Trevor Etienne, running back. Florida, previous destination. Georgia, new destination. This is one of the 3 best running backs in the SEC. And when I have watched Trevor Etienne over the last couple of years, I have seen somebody who is explosive, dynamic, and underutilized. He's going to rush for 1,000 yards this year. That is my prediction. Logging it officially right here on this episode, airing on February 13th, 2024. Trevor Etienne is going to be a 700-yard plus rusher. Why do I feel confident in saying that? Well, he's not going to be relied upon with a limited passing game because Carson Beck is someone I'm immensely high on at quarterback. I think Kirby Smart has an idea or two what he's doing as a football coach and what they're doing offensively. And when I think about Trevor Etienne, I think about big, explosive plays. And in the first 2 years that he spent at Florida, so this is not someone who has to learn or adjust or adapt to the game. No. This is a plug-and-play sort of guy. He had over 700 yards in each of his first 2 seasons, including his true freshman campaign. He averaged almost 6 yards a carry. That was at Florida. He's now at Georgia. Isn't that a crazy thing to say? Isn't it crazy to say you went from Florida to Georgia and you've massively upgraded? But as Josh Pate might say, whomst among us thinks that Georgia is in an infinitely better situation right now than Florida? You've got one guy who just won 13 games and is kind of bummed about it versus another guy in Billy Napier who won 5 games and is now coaching for his job and wasn't able to make a bowl game by beating a third-string quarterback at home in the last week of the regular season in a rivalry game against Florida State. Those are 2 very different situations. Whose offensive line do you like more, Florida or Georgia? I'm just on principle. I'm going to lean towards Georgia here. Whose quarterback do you like better? Yeah, I'm going to take Carson Beck. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks, not just in the SEC, but in the entire country. So you take Trevor Etienne and insert him into that lineup of weapons. Yeah, they don't have Brock Bowers anymore. And no, it's not the exact same team. But this is Georgia we're talking about. They've got talent all up and down the roster. And Etienne, he is going to have running lanes for days down there in Athens. Georgia's win total on FanDuel is posted at 10.5. You know why? They're very good. They're very good. I think they are a lock. I mean, a dead set lock to make the playoff. They're the favorites in the SEC. They should be the favorites to win the national championship. Ohio State should be up there too. Oregon should be up there. Texas should be up there. But Georgia's on top for me. Georgia's on top for me. And one of the reasons is this guy, Trevor Etienne, brings something to the backfield that Georgia has become accustomed to. When you think of the great Georgia teams and the offenses they've had, yeah, there's the Todd Gurley, the Nick Chubb, who are the efficient, chop your feet, run you over sort of backs. But I think of those DeAndre Swift years. I think of a guy like that. I think Trevor Etienne is similar in his running style. Downhill but explosive and dynamic, can make you miss in the open field. And when I watch Georgia's offense, I love the way that it is schemed. I think they use their personnel exceptionally well. And Georgia's offensive staff is going to have a field day with Trevor Etienne. 1,000-yard rushing season. And don't be surprised if he becomes even more involved in the passing game as well. Love that move for the Georgia Bulldogs. One of many reasons that I'm high in them. Carson Beck, Trevor Etienne in the backfield. Ooh, boy. I'll take that every day of the week and twice on Saturdays. Not Sundays, Saturdays, because we're college football here. 1 foot, not 2. Here's another transfer you should be aware of going into next college football season. B.J. Green. This is a player who originally was going to go play at Washington. And then Kalen DeBoer left, and B.J. Green went back into the transfer portal, and he landed at Colorado. Colorado, a team who I have single-handedly moved the betting line on. I'd still bet them over 5.5 wins, by the way, but I loved them over 4.5. If you're an everydayer out there, I tried to get you in on the value. The value has since disappeared just a little bit, but it's still there. because Colorado has reloaded in the trenches. They have one of the top 5 transfer portal classes in all of college football. And a lot of the talent is beefy, meaty, big, bruising, burly. BJ Green played at Arizona State for the last few years. This is not a transfer who's trying to realize his potential. There are kind of 2 categories of transfers. Guys who didn't work at their previous spot that are looking for a fresh start, either lowly recruited or highly recruited and didn't reach their full potential, or plug-and-play starters that come and make an impact. BJ Green falls into the latter of these 2 categories because this is somebody who was at Arizona State last year, playing for a phenomenal defensive coordinator in Brian Ward, by the way. He's been coached quite well, but that defense was void of talent. Colorado's going to have more. I mean, you've got Travis Hunter on one side. You may very well have Cormani McLean if he's ready to play, the former 5-star corner at the other. They brought in a litany of other defensive line transfers, and BJ Green might be the best one. BJ Green a season ago at Arizona State, a talent-deficient roster that was in a complete rebuild reset year under Kenny Dillingham for the Sun Devils. I think he's going to do a good job, by the way. Over 4.5, like the Sun Devils right there. BJ Green has played in 24 games in the last 2 years in Tempe. So he's bringing the experience factor. Well, what about his production? Does he have? Here were his numbers last year: 6 sacks and 11.5 tackles for loss. Those numbers individually, playing in a competitive and deep Pac-12 conference, might I add, would have been first on the team in Colorado in sacks. Their leader had 5, and second in tackles for loss. Their leader had 12. This is an impact player at a position of great need for the Buffs. They had needs on the offensive line. They had needs on the defensive line. And this is one of the guys who I absolutely freaking love that Colorado has added. He is a monster. He's not going to be the only impact player along that defensive line. And I think that's important because if he was, he would draw a bunch of attention, but Colorado hasn't done that. Coach Prime has been very smart and diligent in the way that he's added transfer portal players. And I think BJ Green is going to be the best defensive lineman that Colorado adds this cycle. I think that is incredibly noteworthy. You get a guy who is experienced, who is productive, who is talented, and who is ready to help you right now. He doesn't have health concerns either. 24 games in the last 2 years. How many defensive linemen just don't miss time, or linebackers? I mean, those guys get dinged up all the time. BJ Green is tough. He is physical. He makes plays in the run game. He makes plays in the pass game. He is everywhere. He was Arizona State's best defensive player from this past season. He will be one of the best for Colorado. Travis Hunter will be at the top. BJ Green could be the second best player on Colorado's team this year. He absolutely could be. So if your team, whoever you may be listening to or watching this show, if you play the Buffs this season, you best look out for BJ Green. He wore number 35 at Arizona State. We'll see what he ends up rocking in Boulder. But whatever it is, he's going to make a big impact on the front. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.